for king and country. Hello, welcome to Dangerous Policy, a channel aimed at intelligent people wanting to discuss important issues facing life and society. My name is Crispin, and today I want to talk about Harry and Meghan Markle. Meghan is, without doubt, the most singly divisive figure in the world today. Perhaps not with the same degree of visceral emotion, but I think people have a stronger sense of perspective on her than they do, say, even Donald Trump or J.K. Rowling or any of these other notoriously controversial figures. And the reason is that some people see her as this feminist icon and praise Harry for liberating himself from the golden handcuffs of the British monarchy. And others see her and Harry as a betrayal of the covenant that exists between the British public and the royal family. And to understand what that covenant is, we need to understand a little bit about why the British people agree to have a royal family. And this is really important because if you think about it, almost nothing is more antithetical to the modern nation state and a liberal democracy than hereditary divine authority, right? The Queen is the head of the Church of England. She's vested with enormous sovereign power, and every member of the royal family, from the moment they're born to the moment they die, they're given an elevated status within British society, global recognition, and extraordinary power and influence equal to any A-grade kind of Hollywood actor, actress, or any significant tycoon or tech giant personality. A British royal family member has outsized influence beyond which they could ever hope to exercise otherwise. That is an extraordinary privilege. So why is it that there is a British monarchy still in the 21st century when this is going on? Well, there is a compact, a sacred relationship between the British public and the monarchy. And the deal goes like this. Yes, you are born into enormous privilege, but you are the custodians of British culture, British way of life, and a unifying voice that brings us all together. We will elevate you to the top of our class society, and in exchange, you will bestow moral message down to us that reflects our intrinsic Britishness and sense of being. And so you are born into golden handcuffs, and you will live those duties your entire life, and you will gain respect and devotion and admiration from the people for discharging those duties in accordance with British values. If you then turn your back on the royal family, you're not turning your back on the royal family, you're turning your back on all the millions of people that gave you that privilege. Now, a couple of times along the way, you could argue the British public dodged a bullet. I mean, the last time a British royal family member abandoned the British monarchy for a American divorcee was in 1936 when Edward VIII abdicated the throne of England for his younger brother, much more admirable younger brother who had the famous stutter, unable to speak, proper sentences. He overcame that, and a beautifully told story in The King's Speech. I really recommend that movie, where he had to learn to speak and deliver speeches during the Second World War, to stand alone against fascism and Nazi Germany. Amazing. And if you can actually listen to those speeches today through the BBC. I'll see if I can find a link in the description. And what is extraordinary about that, all right, it's not a segue. What's extraordinary about that is it was someone who understood that they had a deeper moral role to play and overcame their personal deficiencies, disabilities to fulfill that role in a way that all British people could respect. They knew that he had this stunner, and they knew that he had overcome it for their sake, that he was making sacrifices for his people. And Harry and Meghan, whatever the truth of it, look like narcissistic brats. They don't look like they take the duty seriously. And Meghan Markle seems to have married Harry to elevate her status as an A-grade personality, as an A-grade celebrity, not to join the institution that has long predated her and exists not to make her famous and popular, exists, although it does that if you do your job, but exists to make and support the well-being of the British people better. And the failure of Meghan Markle and Harry to do that is something that they're going to live with forever. And the quip that Donald Trump made is just so savage. So he was asked, what he thinks of Meghan Markle and Harry coming out, and
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle chimed in on the U.S. election and essentially encouraged people to vote for Joe Biden. I want to get your reaction to that.
I'm not a fan of hers, and I would say this, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry, because he's going to need it.
And it's true. He looks like he's been manipulated by her to basically abandon his family, abandon his responsibilities, and go to the United States to shill for her career. And I don't think that that's fully fair. I don't really buy the sort of blame Eve for the apple argument. Harry has actually been involved with this sort of woke stuff a little bit more than is well known for a while, and I know someone who has worked for him, and that person is heavily involved in that sort of intersectional world. So he has been exposed to these ideas for at least a number of years before ever marrying Meghan Markle. But nevertheless, she is clearly walking all over him and is probably one of the worst decisions that anyone ever made. There are reasons why she is not good for the monarchy, not good for Harry. None of them relate to the fact that she's American or because of racism or anything like that. It's purely because they abandoned their sacred responsibilities. So this does call into question the authority of the monarchy as a whole, because there are 1/3 of Brits now think that perhaps the monarchy should go, although a large majority still support the British monarchy and believe that it is a vital element of British life. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is the continuity of British life. Everyone recognises the British monarchy as being iconically British. And what would the UK be without the monarchy? It's a really good question. Then you have the way the House of Commons works. So of all parliaments in Europe, the House of Commons is among the most powerful. If you have a majority in the House of Commons, you can pass nearly every bit of legislation you want. The House of Lords isn't anywhere near as powerful as, say, the Australian Senate or the US Senate. And what keeps ministers in check is the knowledge that they are the Queen's ministers. They don't, there might be the Boris Johnson government, but they are there at the leisure of the monarch. There is a sense that they are there to serve the crown. And to that end, Boris Johnson does that very directly. Every week he meets with the Queen to update her on issues facing the government. Now, those conversations are, of course, secret. They're always secret. They have been secret and will be forevermore. But you get that sense of continued subordination to the crown. But the crown that they're subordinating to isn't just the individual, although Queen Elizabeth has her own autoritas after 60 years on the throne. It's not about the position. The individual, it's about the position. It's about understanding that they have a sacred duty to subordinate their own ambitions and desires to the best wishes and ideals of the British public. And that is reflected in the speeches given by the monarchs at those critical times, the Christmas Day speeches, that sort of thing, to give continuity and security to British life as custodians of British values. So Harry is resented for two things. One, turning his back on the covenant that exists between the British public and the monarchy. The British public pay for all that Harry is, and in exchange, they expect him to do his duties, which he has failed to do. And then secondly, the actual ideology he is espousing now, the perceived manipulation of his wife, is something that is totally against British values. When there is absolutely no place for Harry and Meghan Markle to get up and talk about white privilege, for example, right? Like, they do not understand privilege given who they are, right? And to cast aspersions about British history is somehow shameful, to say that they feel terrible for the things that have happened in the past. That's not acceptable from a British monarch. And I think the British public are rightly outraged for that. I saw a report that Meghan Markle is serious about running for president one day. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about a couple of extremely self-indulgent, narcissistic brats. And I understand why people dislike them. So, thankfully, the actual line of succession is very clear and secure. We will have Prince Charles and then William as King of England, with his wife, universally admired Kate, and of course, little Prince George. So hopefully British continuity can get back to normal. As for my own view, I think that the British monarchy does a lot for the British public. I am uncertain about Australia and whether it should become a republic. My views, I'm on the fence about that one. Actually, there are pros and cons, and that would be a whole other video, and we can get into discussion about that. But certainly, the question can be raised at all why the existing monarch is alive. Yeah, I hope you found that an interesting discussion. If you didn't know why there's such hate on Meghan Markle, if you thought it was all just racism, sexism, patriarchy, all that, I don't think it's any of those things. She was much beloved and welcomed when she was initially getting married. You had the wedding ceremony. It's all to do with the attitude, the lack of respect, the lack of gratitude, the self-indulgence and the arrogance of these people to preach things that they clearly know nothing about and to spit in the face of a much beloved Queen Elizabeth II. So if you found value in this, please do like and subscribe. We are trying to grow the channel, and love to hear your comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.